Let's continue. So the meeting point of a row and a column is called a cell. Now a cell is where you input your data. Every cell has a name. A cell is where you input your data and every cell has a name. So let me show you exactly what I am talking about. That is where you input your data and every cell has a name. There is a name for every cell. So that means now we are talking about the meeting point of a row and a column, which is called a cell. And a cell is where you input your data. For example, I want to write something. So this is where I have just inputted something in a cell now. That is to tell you that this is an active cell because something has been inputted into this cell. So you use your cell to store your data. And every cell has a name. If you look at this active cell now, look at this area, this small angle here, you will see what we call D4. That is the name of that cell. The name of this particular active cell is D4. If I should move to another cell, look at this cell now, it's called F2. It's called F2. So that means this cell's name is F2. So like I said, every cell has a name. Every single cell has a name. And because they are the connection between a row, a column, and a cell, you will discover that they share the name of both the column and the cell. Now look at this one that is saying A3. That means is allocated in column A, row 3. Column A, row 3. If you come here, is allocated in column B, row 3, and that is why it is B3. So every cell has a name. Every single cell has a name. Okay, let's move forward. Okay, now please, as you are entering, please just mute yourself. Just mute yourself, please. As you are coming in, please just mute yourself. We don't want anything to distract us. Now we are now haven't done that. A worksheet is a single page of an Excel sheet that contains cell. Worksheet is a single page of an Excel sheet that contains cells. So the combination of more than one worksheet is called a workbook. The combination of more than one worksheet is called a workbook. Let me show you exactly what I am talking about. Now, looking at this particular page that we are in, look down here, look to the bottom line towards the left of this Excel is called a sheet. This is a sheet. This particular page is a single sheet, just one sheet. If I should open another one using this plus sign here, now we have two sheets on this, and this sheet, we have everything together is called a workbook. If we have more than one sheet, we can have more than one sheet in a workbook. Do you understand me now? We can have more than one sheet in a workbook, but everything together is called a workbook. That you open an Excel. If you just open an Excel, what you actually open is a workbook. If you open an Excel page, what you open is a workbook. So on that single workbook, you can have many worksheets. You can have many worksheets. So if you are opening an Excel to work with, you are opening a workbook. So on that workbook, you can now have different worksheets. Okay, now let's move on. So I'm going to be explaining everything one after the other, and we are going to be seeing everything on our Excel platform. Now, this is an example. Now we have a platform of Excel. The first thing we are going to be dealing with here is an active cell. What is actually an active cell? When you are talking about an active cell, that a cell is active, a cell which is currently selected, it will be highlighted by a rectangular box and its name will be shown in the name or address bar. You can active a cell by clicking on it or by using the arrows button on your laptop to edit a cell, double click on it or use F2. So let me show you exactly what I am just saying now. Let me show you exactly what I just said. Okay, when you are talking about an active cell, let me show you this. The cell that is active is the one that is having this deep green color. Your own may be blue. It all depends on the type of Excel you are using. Yours may be blue color, but when you see an active cell, you will discover that it's going to be having these ribbon bars, a thick ribbon bar, rectangular ribbon bar surrounding it. That is an example of an active cell. It shows that your cell is active. That particular cell is active. It's either you want to write inside it or, and what you should know is that an active cell will show its name on the name box. You see, it will show its name on the name box. That is to tell you that this cell, this particular cell is active. So an active cell is the one that has this ribbon. Now, if I look at the where I wrote Adedimeji, the moment I put my cursor on it and it created that ribbon bar that is surrounding it, that rectangular ribbon bar, or the one you are currently working on, maybe the one you are typing on, maybe like the moment I'm typing on now, this is an active cell because I am currently working on it, or the one that you click on with you double click on it or you use your F2, you click on it, an active cell. That is how to know an active cell. So when you have a cell that is surrounded with this thick rectangular ribbon, is either your own is color blue or color green, it all depends. Whichever color it is, that is an active cell. That is an active cell. Okay, let us continue. Let us continue. Okay. So that is talking about active cell. Now, let's move to the second one. This one is talking about a column. Now, a column is a vertical set of cells. A worksheet has 16,384 columns. That's the number of columns we have in Excel. That's the number of columns we have in Excel. So that's 16,384 columns. A column is depicted with alphabets from A to X, F, D. You can select an entire column by clicking on its header. So when you're talking about a column, like what you have in this image here, the red vertical ribbon is showing a column. Let us go and see our Excel environment so that we can have a very clearer understanding of exactly what I am talking about. So it shows that Excel has over 16,000 column over 60,000 columns in Excel. Now, this is an example of what I am talking about. This is from A. If you want to select it like this, from A, and you look through it to the end, you discover that you have, can you see how it's moving? To the end, over 16,000 columns. We have over 16,000 columns in, we have over 16,000 columns in Excel. And one thing is that, well, for the little time I've been working with my little work experience, I've not seen anything that has, I've not seen any database that has over 16,000 columns. Maybe any of us have seen something like that anyway. But me, I don't think I've I have ever come. I don't think it has ever occurred like that. So, like I said, that's to, if you want to continue like that, is to like the lat till the end. So it's to XFD. You can check that by yourself. You can check that by yourself. So Excel has like 16,000, over 16,000 columns. It has like over 16,000 columns. Now let's move on to the next. Now the third one I will be showing you is the rows. Talking about the rows. A row is a horizontal set of cells. A worksheet has 1,048,576 rows. 48,576 rows. Let me say it again, 1,048,576 rows. That is the number. Don't be surprised. That's even very little. That's very little. If you ask me now, that's just it's not enough. That's not enough because I've worked on data sets that is over 3 million. So with that kind of data set, I can't use Excel because the moment you input a data set that is above the number that Excel can contain, Excel will cut it off. We cut the remaining data set off. So if you are talking about data sets, the number of data set that we have, so we have like in Excel alone. So if you are scared that 1 million, over 1 million, so that means you've not seen enough data sets. You will see some database that they are more than 1 million. They are more than 1 million. So the row depicted with numbers from 1 to that over 1 million. You can select an entire row by clicking the header. So also like that, like I said, the row, this is what we are saying. Talking about, somebody is asking, what will you use if you have over, yes, what will you use if you have over 1 million, over 1 million data? You can use Python, you can use Python, you can use Power BI sometimes. So you can use Python for it. So here we have over 1 million here. We have over 1 million. And the numbers, like I said, the numbers are the one that's depicted the rows. The rows are the numbers from 1 to millions, like that, just like that, like that, like that. So that is the rows. So that is, so let's move on. Talking about row now, having known the rows and columns, we move to what we call fill handle. That's number 4. The number 4 Excel interface we are learning is fill handle. So we've learned about the active cell. That's number 1. Number 2 was the column. Number 3 was the row. And number 4, we are talking about the fill handle. Now, what is fill handle? Fill handle is a small dot present at the lower right corner of an active cell. A small dot present at the lower right corner of an active cell. It helps you to fill numerical values, text series, insert ranges, insert serial numbers. It helps you to fill numerical values, text series, insert ranges, and insert serial numbers, and etc., etc. So let me show you exactly what I am talking about now. what we are talking about fill handle. Now look at this our cell here. So looking at this our sheet here, like this our Excel sheet here. Let me click on active. This is an active cell. You see there is a small dot. You discover that there is a small dot at the end of, at the bottom end to the right of this our cell. That is what we call fill handle. And what do we use fill handles for? We can use it to automate our series of number as long there is a pattern, there is a trend. For example, let me show you an example of what I'm saying. If there is a trend, let me say 1, enter 2, enter 3, enter 4, enter. Now, looking at these numbers, you will discover that there is an addition of ones in these numbers. 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 plus 1 is 4. So there is a pattern, and the pattern is an addition of ones. Now looking at it, maybe I want to write it to like 20. All I need to use is fill handle. The thing you will do is highlight the ones, the numbers you have written. The first thing is highlight the numbers you have written. Highlight the numbers you have written. Put your cursor at that particular point. The moment you put your cursor at that particular point, it's going to turn into a dark plus sign, a dark plus sign. Then right click and drag down. Right click and drag down to the level you want it to get to. Right click and drag down and leave it. Look at what happened. It automatically, Excel under the background discovered a pattern, a trend in what I am doing, a sequence. Is that it has discovered that, oh, I am adding 1 to these numbers, and that immediately you use fill handle, Excel is going to fill it up, it's going to fill it up for you automatically. It's going to fill it up for you automatically. So that is what we call fill handle. So whenever you can use fill handle to, you can use it for example, it's not because I'm using ones. For example, I'm using this 10, 20, 30. You know, there is also already a sequence. The first thing is highlight the numbers you have. The numbers you have already, you highlight it, and you now use that to drag it down. Excel will automatically, Excel understood that, oh, there is something going on in this number. There is something actually happening here. So Excel understood what you are doing underground. So it's going to help you to fill it up. That's fill handle. So if you get fill handle, just give me a thumbs up if you understood what I've just said. Give me a thumbs up. Don't ask question. If you know you have question, drop it on the chat. I will attend to it, but don't raise your hands, please. So that is fill handle. Thank you. Now let's continue. Number 5 on our Excel interface is what we call the address bar or name box. You can call it, your own Excel may be showing it as address bar, and some people may be showing it as name box. So address bar or name box. Now, the name box normally displays the address of an active cell. It will display the address of an active cell on a worksheet. It will display the address of an active cell on a worksheet. The address bar is the small input bar at the left side of the window. From the name box, you will see the name of the active cell or a cell range. Let me show you exactly what I am talking about now. Now, come to the left corner. You can see where my cursor is. Come to the left corner here. This is what we call a name box. You either call it a name box or an active or an address bar. And this, every active cell, that's where you will see the name here. Once you have an active cell, then you have the name. For example, look at this name now. This Adedimeji here, the name is here. You can actually change the name of a cell. Yes, you can give a cell your own name. For example, this Adedimeji, let me change it to Ade and click enter. Change the name and click enter. Anytime you go back to that cell, it's going to show the name you gave to that cell. It's going to be showing the name you gave to that cell. So you can actually change the name of a cell, maybe for you to remember what you are doing. You want to remember what you are doing, and giving a cell name or a range name is going to help you to automate your work. We are going to get that. You will see how you can use it to automate your work very fast. For example, let me show you how to give a range name. Now we want to name everything we have here from row 1 to row 20 between column A and B. Now we are going to highlight it. Let's highlight it. Let's highlight it. Now let's give it new one and click enter. Oh, so we have what we call new on the name cell. That's why it's showing me that. So I can give it another name. Let me call it is about shaping the future of a nation and building a legacy for generations to come and growth. Okay, I can call it data 1. This range now, looking at this range, I have given Princess, please don't raise up your hand though. Thank you. This range now, I've given it data 1. I've given it data 1. So anytime I highlight it, I highlight everything. See, it's going to give me the name I gave to that particular range. It's going to give me the name, and it's going to giving name to your own, giving name to a column or a range of values is going to help you, especially when we get to calculations. You will discover that giving these things names is going to make your work very fast. It's going to make your work very fast. So let's continue. That is about address bar. So let's move on. Now we go to what we call formula bar. That's number 6. Formula bar. Formula bar. Now talking about the formula bar is an input bar below the ribbon. It shows the content of the active cell, and you can also use it to enter a formula in a cell. So let's go to what our formula bar is. Now look at this upper part, this long rectangle shape here. This long rectangular shape, that's what we call our formula bar. You can see where my cursor is, that is showing like letter I. That's what we call the formula bar. Now, this formula bar is going to show anything that is on an active cell. Look at when I click this cell, Adedimeji is showing on the formula bar. What formula bar does is that, for example, if there is a formula that you use to generate an answer, even though the answer will be showing, but on the formula bar, the formula you use to generate that particular result is going to be showing on the formula bar. Let me show you exactly what I am talking about. Now, let me show you something beautiful. You say 20, write 20, then here you write 30, and here you now say equals to this plus this. If you enter it, look at it now. This is showing us 50. That is to tell us that 30 plus 20, 20 plus 30 is equals to 50. You can always see 50. But if you click on this 50, look at the formula bar. It's showing you that this 50 is not standing alone. There is something under that 50 that before it becomes 50. So the formula bar is going to show you the formula that generates the results. That's another thing our formula bar can show. So even though if you're having a lot of data sets, and maybe there is a particular set, a data set that was generated using a particular formula, the moment you highlight that particular cell, it's going to bring out the formula that they used to generate that cell. So that is exactly what formula, those are the things that formula bar can show you. So it can show you the formula that generates a particular cell, or show you what is inside an active cell. So you can use it also to write write on an active cell. Now, for example, highlight a neutral cell, a cell that is empty, then go to your formula bar and write anything. You see, the moment I'm writing it on my formula bar, is activating itself on the active cell. Is activating itself on the active cell. All you just need to do is make sure that the cell you want, what you want to write on your formula bar, before you start writing it, make sure you activate a cell. You first of all activate a cell, then you now go to your formula bar and write. So you can activate a cell, then you can use your formula bar to impute data on your active cell. So if you understand me, please give me a thumbs up. Thank you. Now let's move to the next one. Number 7. Number 7 is called the title bar. The title bar will show the name of your workbook, followed by the application name, Microsoft Excel. By default, a new workbook is named Book 1 Excel. That is title bar. Because if you want to save your work and you are wondering what is going on, look at the upper part of my Excel here. You will see where they wrote Book 1 Excel. Can you please explain how you use the formula to get? Don't worry, we'll get there. I'm just trying to talk about formula bar. All I'm talking about is formula bar. That is what is active there. We will get to where you can, how I use the formula. Don't worry about that. So we get there. So now talking about the title bar. When you see the title bar, you see Book 1 Excel. Now, this by default, anytime you open a new Excel, this is what is going to bring to you. Now you can change the name of this particular book. How will you do that? Go to where you have file. Where you have file, go to where you have file, click on file, and go to save as. Save as. Save as. Where you have your save as, if you first thing you do is create where you want to save it. Where you want to save it. And now I can change this my Book 1 to so, and I save. Now look at that particular name. It's no longer workbook again. It's no longer Book 1. Now it's having practical class. Practical class. So you can change the name of your that workbook to anything. That is where you have your title bar. And anytime you are looking for it on your documents, you can use the name that you used to save it to create it. You can also use Control S to change the name as ever you decided the one you decide to use. That's talking about our title bar. Now let's move to the number 8. Let's move to the number 8. Move to the number 8. Our number 8 is talking about file menu. File menu. The file menu takes you the backstage view of Excel. It contains options like save, save as, open, new, print, Excel options, share, and so on and so forth. And so on and so forth. What I am talking about, if you go to where you have your file here, your file, that is where you have it. You have your new, open, and the likes like that. That is exactly where you have your file menu. That's exactly where you have your file menu. You have everything like home, like new, open, info, everything. That is where you have your file menu. Now let's move on. Number 9 talks about quick access toolbar. Quick access toolbar. Quick access toolbar. Now, a toolbar to quickly access the options which you frequently use. Yes, you can add your favorite options by adding new options to quick access toolbar. What you are talking about is this. This is you see there are some bars here. This is what we call quick access toolbars. These are the quick access toolbars. We have save, and you can add to it this thing. See, you have them here. Define name, everything. You have them here. See, this is quick access toolbars. This is quick access toolbars. You can add so many other things to it. Anything that you know that you are using frequently, you can click it so that you can add to it. You can click to it, you can add to it. See, the moment you click, it's going to be showing it. You can add them to it. Anything that you want, you can add it to it. That's your quick access to bar. Anything that you know that you want it to be, you want to use off, you use often, you can add it to your quick access to bar. Also, let's move. Number 10, we have the ribbon bar. Now, the ribbon bar is a section that contains different Excel capabilities organized into tabs such as file, home, insert, page layout, formulas, data review. So let me show you exactly what I am talking about. Well, there are some things that you may not find. This is an example of this. What we have here is what we call the ribbon bar, where we have file, home, insert, page layout, formulas, data review, view, help, and the likes, like that. Well, if you are not having the same thing like mine, don't panic. It's just that we are not using the same maybe that shows that we are not using the same Excel version. Maybe your own version is a little bit lower than mine. That is why you are not having everything I have here. And you know, one thing about Excel is that every year they have different version. They are always creating new versions of Excel. See, now let me show you. When you are talking about this, you look at the inserts, we have different things on the insert. We have tables, we have illustration, add-ins, charts, different charts. We have different charts that you can work with, that we are still going to be working with later on. We have tools, we have spark lines, we have filters, links, text symbols. Now let's go to our page layouts. Here you have themes where you can work with colors. We have page setups where you can adjust your page, scale to fit, sheet options, arrange. These are the things that we do use in our ribbon. And on the formulas, we have insert function libraries, define names, formula auditing, calculations. So these are the things we are going to be using as we move on in this class. We have the data, we have get and transform data. Here, when we work with pivot table, we'll be working with this place, especially when we want to use our pivot table query, pivot query, and query. Yes. Then we have queries and connections. We have sort and filter, data tools, forecast, outline. Okay. We have what we call review. Yes. Under review, we have proofing, accessibility, insights, language, comments, protect, link, and all those things. We have view. These are the things we have under our view: workbook views, show, zoom, windows, macros. These are advanced things that you can use. We have your help and we have your power pivots. And these power pivots, you can use it also for Excel works. There are some things we use it for in Excel, but that is an advanced level of Excel. So if you are able to get to the advanced level of Excel, congratulations to you. That means you are moving very fast with the class. So let's move on with our class. Come in. Now, the next thing to go through is the worksheet tab. Yes, the worksheet tab. The worksheet shows all the worksheets in the workbook. By default, you will see 3 worksheets in your new workbook with the name sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3. There are 255 worksheets in a workbook. That means in a workbook, you can actually do some rough works on approximately on 255 worksheets. And you can always rename the worksheets. You can always rename your worksheets. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. Now you can see this is worksheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3, sheet 4, and we have 250. You can also rename your worksheet. What you do is just double click on that sheet 1, double click on that sheet 1, and write the name you want to give to that sheet and click enter. Double click on that sheet and write the name and click enter. You double click on the sheet, write the name and click enter. That is how to change the name of your sheet. Why do you need to put name on your sheet? For example, if you are working on maybe a particular database, and you are working with different departments, maybe you are working with, or you want to work on HR database, sales, maybe like 4 or 5, and you have to connect everything together at a particular point. You may want to put them on different sheets as you are entering them into your workbook. You may want to put them on different sheets. So you can give this name to them so that you will identify which is which, so that you don't have a mix up. If you want to work on a particular data set, the moment you have given it a name on that workbook, then you'll be able to identify it so that you don't have mix-ups. So that is exactly the purpose of you giving a name to your worksheet. So if we are still with me, please give me a thumbs up. If you are still with me, please give me a thumbs up. Oh, thank you very much. I see a lot of people are still with me. Thank you. You are still in the class. Now, let's move on. Let's move on. It's like I'm a bit pretty fast. I hope you are okay with the speed. If you are okay with the speed, let me see your thumbs up. If you are okay with the speed at which I'm going, good. Thank you. Good. Thank you so much. I'm happy. Now, number 12 about this is our status bar. Our status bar. The number 12 is our status bar. Now, it is a thin bar at the bottom of the Excel window. It will give you an instant help once you start working in Excel. It displays messages about current Excel operations. And this is exactly what we call our status bar. You see, under this, under this line, there is a line. If you see where my cursor is here, look at the lowest bottom, the bottom to the left, you will see where we have ready. You will see where we have ready. Now, let me show you exactly what this status bar do. Imagine I highlight this particular column now, this particular column A. Look at the status bar. Immediately, it gives me information about this. It gives me some information about that particular column. It's telling me that in that column, the average is 10.5. The count, the number of data on that particular is 20, and the sum of it is 210. That is what status bar. So you can even use this status bar to generate information. Imagine if I am having it like this. If I have it like this, yes, it's showing me that average of 57.75, count of 40, and sum of 2,310. So you can use it to generate some information about your Excel. You can use it to generate some information about your Excel, and that is called what we call the status bar. So that's what we call the status bar. Okay, now for us, before we move on, now I'm going to be giving us a few minutes break. We are going to be going on a break. We are going to be going on a break, and we are going to be coming back by 9, sorry, 10. No, by 8. Sorry, I'm supposed to have done this earlier. So we are going to be going on a short break of like 10-15 minutes. So let's come back like 8:35. We are going to be coming back. I don't say you may not log out. You may just I just want everybody to, we have not eaten. Maybe you just came back from work, rushing, carry your system. So just try and relax a bit, relax a bit. By 8:35, I'll see you in like 10 to 15 minutes time. Thank you very much. Okay, welcome back, everyone. I believe we've been able to stretch our legs and put something in our stomach. So if you can hear me, please give me a thumbs up, please. Good. Welcome back. So I'll be rounding up the class shortly because we don't really have much to do today. Just to work on the interface. So, like we said, there are widely range of things that we can do with our Excel. And those are the things we are going to be working with. So I'm going to show us something that's okay. Now I'm going to be showing us something that you can't believe that from a raw data set became what I want to show you. I'm coming. And that is where our journey is going to. That is what we want to do on this. Now, if you can see my current slide, please, if you can see my current page, give me a thumbs up. Thank you. Now, this is an example of a raw data. This is an example of a raw data. Although this one has been worked on, but I'm just showing you this is an example of a data set. This is an example of a data set. So this is an example of what you will likely work with in times to come. This is an example of a data set. And from this data set, we're able to generate this. We're able to generate these calculations and charts. We're able to generate these calculations and charts. We're able to generate these calculations and charts. And from here, we generated what we call this is a dashboard. This is an example of a dashboard. This is an example of a dashboard. So these are the things you are going to be working on. These are the things you are going to be working on. So you can see how beautiful Excel can be. You can see how beautiful, how wonderful Excel can be. Excel is so much beautiful. You can do so much, even much more than this. You can do so many other things on Excel. So these are the things we are going to be working on. So just prepare your mind that you are going to be. So like I said, you can give your sheet a name. Now look at this one. We have what we call calculations. We have dashboard. We have order and more like that. So we have different things. See? So you can use it to know what actually the exact work, the one you are actually working with. So these are the things we are going to be working with very soon. These are the things we are going to be working with very soon. So just today is just to familiarize ourselves with the Excel environment, to know how the Excel page looks like. How the Excel page looks like. That's exactly what we are doing today. So before we round up, I'm going to be opening the floor for questioning. And after questioning, then we'll be able to call it a good night. And then we'll come back. We'll see ourselves again on Thursday. So now you have the floor. If you have any question, please ask your question now. You have the floor. If you want to ask questions, ask questions. So today we've been able to learn some Excel interface, what Excel is about. So we'll be able to learn that Excel is most widely used spreadsheets, basically used for calculations, charting, database. So please, if you are raising up your hand and Michael, please. Michael Ibrahim, you have the floor. Please unmute yourself and talk.
Okay, good evening, ma.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. So my question is that what is the duration of our learning? How many weeks or months are we having this class?
Okay, this
Thank you.
particular one is just for 2 weeks. So if you are interested in learning more, in completing your learning, then
Yes.
you are going to show your interest and then you learn further. But this one for this
Oh,
particular field now is for 2 weeks. So if you are interested and you are ready to be committed to learning, then we can move forward ahead. Have I
okay.
answered your
Thank you.
question?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, please, the next person can ask question. Unmute yourself and ask your question.
Okay, good evening, ma.
Good evening, Ibrahim.
Thank you very much for this wonderful presentation. The
Okay,
point that you are explaining status bar.
okay,
Uh, yes, I really didn't get the concept of that status bar. Can you please
okay. I
give
can go
me?
through that again. Don't worry, I can do that again. So let's
Thank
go
you very much.
to status bar. Yeah. Now, when you are talking about status bar, look at the bottom, the last bottom of this Excel sheet. You will see where we have ready. If you see that Excel sheet, the last bottom of it, and what status bar does is just give you a rough idea. It's just a rough idea about what you are working with. For example, if I highlight this particular, the number of things I highlighted here, there is a rough information about this particular ranges, the particular range I highlighted here. It's telling me that what I highlighted here has the average of 10.5. That means if you calculate everything together and divide it, the average is 10.5 and the count is 20 and the sum of it is 210. So that is what status bar is for. It's just giving you a rough idea. So if you click on, and it's majorly on numerical values. Now look at it now. The moment I highlight all this, now it's telling me that the average of what I highlighted is this, the count of this, and the sum of this. Immediately look at this one too. If I highlight it like this is showing just a rough information, just a little information about the highlighted fields, the highlighted data that you have. That is what status bar is about. Just showing you a rough idea of what you want to work with. So do you get it now, Ibrahim?
Yes, thank you very much. I have understood now.
Yes, you are welcome. Please, who is asking question again? Please, my food. Questions, please. Any other question? Okay. Like I said, today we've been able to work on basically that Excel is basically used for calculations and the spreadsheet we have. Okay, Miriam, you have the floor. Please ask your question. Unmute yourself and ask the question. Miriam Yusuf, please.
Oh. Good evening, ma.
Good evening.
Thank you for the wonderful presentation. Really interesting. Please, I just want to get something about the formula bar. I can
Okay.
see you said E plus F1 giving us the total of the is it G50, but by the time we are using the formula bar, we just, so when you put it on in the box for Tajudin and it went to, is it 5F? I don't know how we arrive at that place.
Okay, like I said earlier, I said
Okay.
this formula bar, the purpose, the work of this formula bar is to show what is actually in an active cell. Look at, if I click on this Tajudin, You can see Tajuddin on the formula bar, right? Now,
Yes, ma'am.
if it's not only to do that alone. If there is a particular calculation that is hidden under a number, formula bar can show that calculation to you. That formula that generated that results. And what I did was this, I wrote, let me do it again. Let me say 10 here and then 30 here. So if I want to calculate these two together, if I should say this one, I want to calculate it equals to this one plus this one, and I click enter. Now it's showing 40. To you, you are seeing 40, but this 40 does not, is not, I did not type the 40 with my hand. So if I am giving you this platform now and you are coming across it and you want to see if that 40 was actually imputed or was created by a formula, the moment you click on that 40, it's going to show the formula that is used to generate that 40. What the formula is telling us that this calculation, if you look at the name of this particular set that is containing 10, the name is E10. And the one that is having our 30 is E11. So if you look at 40, it's telling you that E10 was added with E11 to generate these results. So what I'm trying to let you know is that formula bar can also bring out the formula that is hidden under a particular value. Are you getting it now? So how I calculate it, I have said earlier, I said, don't worry, we will get there. We will get to how you can do some calculations and every other thing. Don't worry about that. But I am just trying to explain what our formula bar is used for. Do I answer your question? Thank you. So any other question, please? Any other question before we call it a day? Okay. So we've been able to discuss on different Excel interface like the active cell, the column. The column, I said column has like 16,384 columns. And me, I've not seen any data set that has like up to that 16,000 plus columns. Then we talk about our fill and do, talk about rows, right? Also, we talk about fill and do, talk about our rows. And I said the row has 1,048,576 rows. Please, Kamaldeen, ask your questions, or mute yourself and ask your question.
Okay, thank you, ma.
Yeah.
Please, I want to ask that when we are working with the sheet, is it that when we are working like a paper, like on a sheet of maybe we are typing using a sheet of about and how many, like 20 page? Is it that after using one sheet of paper, like copying a equation from one paper to the system, is it that we have to open another sheet for another paper on the sheet in the bottom bar showing here?
Okay, like I said earlier, that the sheet, the purpose for your sheet is that, for example, you want to work with a particular data set, and that data set is having it has a lot of variables attached to it. Yeah,
Okay.
it has a lot of things attached to it. Then,
Okay.
like the example I gave here, let me show you the example. The example I gave here, let me show it to you. I'm coming. Now, look at the example I gave here. Here we have calculations. We have people. You can see it now. So now
I can
we
see
have
it now.
different. I want to work on Now we are here, we have the name, we have regional manager, and their regions.
Okay.
Then moving to this place, I have their returns. So if you are working with more than one variables attached to a single data set, and you want to split it, you understand? Then you can put it
Okay.
on different sheets. You can put it on different sheets. And for example, on Excel, you want to do your calculations, you want to do some calculations on Excel. You want to bring out some things important from this place, or like your pivot table, you use another sheet. And so that you don't work on the same sheet. Like this dashboard now, this dashboard is on another sheet. You understand me now? That
Okay.
is exactly what we are talking about. So you choose
Okay.
different sheets for your work, as long as if what you want to do is not connected to the old one. Maybe you want to
Okay.
have an insight, more insight on a particular thing. So you create another sheet for it. Do you understand me now?
Okay, ma. Okay, ma.
So for example, now it's not a must that maybe I'm doing calculation, and because I'm working on a particular calculation, I did 2 plus 2 in one sheet. I now open to another sheet. I went and do 4 plus 4. No, you are dealing with a particular sheet, a particular data set. But this data set has a lot of variables attached to it. You may want to split other variables into different sheets so that you can use them to generate more insights. Do you understand what I'm saying now?
Yes, ma.
Thank you. So who is asking question again? If you're asking question, please, you can unmute yourself and go ahead. Okay, Miriam, please.
I just want to know that if it's really going to possible for us to have the access to the slide presented tonight.
The slide is for those that will continue with the lecture after 2 weeks, because there are
Wow.
more things on the slide that is more than the basics.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
You're welcome. So any other thing? Okay, in the absence of none, this is where we are going to be dropping it. So on Thursday, yeah, our next class is on Thursday. So our next class is on Thursday. So don't worry, the recordings will be sent to you, and you'll be having the recordings so you can go through it over and over again, get yourself familiarized with the Excel interface. And so by the time we are meeting next, then we'll be moving on a very fast speed also. So I believe we have gained one thing or the other. So I wish you all a wonderful night rest, and see you all on Thursday. So thank you very much. That's the end of the class for today. Thank you. See you on class on Thursday. Good night. Thank you. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night. Good night, everyone.
Good night, man.
Thank you. Good night. Bye.
Thank you. Good night.